What do you get when you mix a charismatic dictator rocking Ellen DeGeneres' wig, a rebel army led by two psychopaths with clashing visions, and one guy just trying to fulfill his late mother's last wish? Well, you get Far Cry 4 of course, a follow-up to the smash hit Far Cry 3 released just 2 years prior. Set in the fictional country of Kyrat, Far Cry 4 trades tropical beaches for snowy peaks and a civil war. Now, following up a game that basically invented its own subgenre for Ubisoft was never going to be easy. Though, to be fair, copying it almost bar for bar definitely helps. For completionists though, that won't be an issue, especially with Ubisoft's usual trophy roadmap. The guide rates it a 3 out of 10 for difficulty and 25 hours to complete, but I'll be aiming to reduce that down if possible. With there only being 2 real steps, I'll go ahead and break them down. Step 1. Finish the main story dealing with all of Pagan's accomplices as we go. Step 2. Mop up collectibles, miscellaneous trophies and any loose ends. Them loose ends containing everyone's least favourite multiplayer trophies and a couple co-op ones also. Anyway, enough with the yapping. Grab your wingsuit and shit haircut, let's head into Kyrat and grab these trophies. The game begins with our main character AJ Gale in pursuit of dropping his mother's ashes off at Lakshmana. Taking the bus in, our visa is promptly declined and we are met with our first introduction to Pagan Min. Taking a selfie with us only rivaled in awkwardness to Dead Rising 4's selfies.
Holy Jesus. What the fuck is that?
We are then trekked to an amazing title drop, capping off the cold open.
My calendar for you. You and I are gonna tear shit up!
Being unbagged, we are told to wait by Pagan and enjoy the crab rangoon. We choose to ignore him, partially as we are allergic to shellfish, and partially as we have the attention span of a puppy. Wandering off downstairs, we are introduced to Sabal, one leader of the Golden Path. Telling us to sprint down the cliff, we jump into an Uber and scatter off down the mountain. Unfortunately though, as I can't aim for shit,
Oh my god!
a car rams us off the road, knocking us unconscious. Upon waking, Sabal asks we ascend the terrain towards a tower. Heading toward the top, we are shown the stealth fundamentals and basic gameplay loop, making sure we grab our first few takedowns on the way up. Having reached the tower, we are ambushed by not only enemies but massive amounts of snow too, almost claiming this tower as the Dyatlov Pass sequel. Fortune being on our side though, we arise from the snow and after a brief introduction to a meter, the second half of the Golden Path's leadership, we are finally left to our own devices. Going through the Far Cry basics of hunting animals and ascending towers designed by Stevie Wonder himself.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
We are introduced to my personal favourite trope of the Far Cry games, liberating outposts. The psychology behind this is probably the same reason I hunt platinums in the first place. My little pea-brain seeing them gradually be complete as the game goes on is something I never tire of. It's even better if you can do them without setting any alarms off, which we are able to this time for our first trophy, Tread Lightly. Having cleared the outpost and with a brief history lesson from a meter, we are inducted into the Golden Path. At this point, we tell our mother inside the urn to keep a hold of that lid as we now have a dictator to chase. Following the cutscene, our second trophy pops. With us now being introduced to both leaders of the Golden Path, we are also introduced to the main conflict. No, not the genocidal dictator. These two muppets whinging at each other any chance they get. You know, the game presents this as a major narrative divide, but no matter who you choose, it often just affects who you speak to on the radio and the overall goal of the following mission. Honestly, neither of them present themselves as a great choice, but often I'll just go ahead and choose Sabal, as he seems to be the lesser of the two evils. Embarking on the next main quest, we tag our 25th enemy using the camera for Shutterbug. After Pagan hits us with a surprisingly relevant joke even 11 years later.
Let's see how much Kanye is going for. Do you follow him on Twitter? He is gold.
We are dispatched to the Himalayas to retrieve a weapon shipment for Longinus. Said weapon shipment actually turned out to be a case of diamonds. However, murdering our way across the mountain, we gain enough XP to learn our 10th skill for Quick Learner. Having now acquired the textbook silent sniper and bow combo, we press on, completing outposts and ascending more towers. Alongside this, I scalped a few animals, allowing us to craft our 5th equipment upgrade for Tricked Out. Also, behind us we are able to use the shop, buy an ammo refill, and that'll go ahead and grant us Make It Rain. Progressing through the story, we are introduced to Yogi and Reggie. Honestly, the less said about these two the better. Every scene for me with them just seemed to drag on, and they were wrote as comedic relief, but if I'm being honest with you, they were about as funny as a slap in the After using Dex's trademark on us,
Tonight's the night.
we are handed to Noir, who throws us into the arena with only a knife to survive. Clearing out the arena, we realise though we do have a few fans in Kyrat.
They love me.
Following our arena victory, Noir lets us know she can get us back into the fortress we started the game in to take down Deploy. To do this, we simply need to enter the back of a cargo truck undetected.
I'm just gonna scooch in right here if you don't mind.
Arriving in the fortress, the perfect opportunity presents itself as two goons line themselves up, and after taking the shot, we pop. Freeing the slaves, we learn Deploy is here, and after sneaking into his office, we can capture him, allowing us to slowly extract down the base until we reach a car and hightail it out of there. Delivering him to the Golden Path grants us one down for deciding his fate. And with him now dealt with, our next target is Noir herself. Sneaking through the back of her arena, taking out her champions as we go, we are confronted with Noir, who is now faced with the fact her family died a long time ago at the hands of Pagan. Unable to accept this, she gives the crowd one last show, dropping below and becoming animal food. Leaving the arena comes with our next trophy for deciding her fate. At this point now, we had dealt with the whole southern district of Kyrat, and with only 9 trophies in hand, I thought I would go ahead and knock some trophies out we had available to us, including the co-op and multiplayer trophies too. Now, you're going to have to bear with me as we've got a lot of these to get through. As I say, honestly, most of this game is just miscellaneous trophies, so let's go ahead and count them up anyways. The first bit of cleanup we did was for the co-op and the multiplayer trophies, just so we can go ahead and get them out of the way. With them done, next up it was simply just the single player miscellaneous. This included stuff like collectibles, liberating half of the outposts, and various other combat trophies. I won't go ahead and break these all down as it would be a little bit of a waste of time, but I will go ahead and pop them all for you now. Having dealt with Pagan's southern fortresses and a lot of cleanup done, we now press forward towards his final Lieutenant Yuma and Pagan himself. After crossing the border, dividing the north and south, we now had access to the full map. Heading to a local village in the north, we managed to get eyes on Pagan. Without a second thought, we chase him down using a quadcopter and assassinate him from the air. For doing so, we get the Sky Is Fallen. We also realise this Pagan was actually wearing Ellen DeGeneres' wig and isn't the real deal. This is then confirmed when the real Pagan calls us shortly after, meaning the hunt is still on. Reuniting with the Golden Path, we gather around a TV where Pagan challenges us to face his lieutenant, who is ready and waiting for us. Having never backed down from a scrap, AJ finds Yuma, who manages to get the jump on us and drug us up with dust. After exploring the usual FarCry drug-induced section and stabbing Kalanag through the throat, it snaps us back to reality where Yuma is on the floor in front of us. Having now dealt with Pagan's second in command, it grants us hat-trick. With Yuma down and mostly all trophies cleaned up, we only had one more task at hand. But before that, I thought I would grab one more trophy by finally liberating all the outposts on the map and reclaiming Kyrat for the Golden Path. Having cleared out the majority of Pagan's forces and making way for a new power vacuum, we are given a choice of either Sabal or Amita. Siding with Sabal, he then tasks us with eliminating Amita to remove the power struggle between them and grant him control over Kyrat. Letting Amita live, Sabal then comes through and lets us know it's time to end this, doing so in a full frontal assault on Pagan's fortress. After rallying the troops, we head towards Pagan's fort for one final battle. By this point though, we had all the best guns, so pressing through Pagan's last line of defence was a piece of piss. Once again, confronting Pagan, we are given the option to kill him or allow him to place the ashes with us. Of course I went with the latter, as to this point compared to everyone else, the homicidal maniac was the only other decent character in the game besides AJ himself. Leaving us outside, we learn Lakshmana was not actually a place, and instead it was Pagan's daughter, conceived with AJ's mother, making her actually his half-sister. We can finally place the urn down and put her to rest right where she had requested from the start. At this point, Pagan flies away in a helicopter, and we do have the option here to shoot it down, but I let him get away, granting us our second to last trophy, the king is dead. A bit of a daft name considering we can let him live, but anyway. With that now complete, we are down to 1, with anyone else who platinums this game also likely having this as their last trophy for unlocking all the skills. After a bit of grinding, repeatedly doing Pagan's Fortress, we gather all the points needed to learn all the skills and go ahead and pop the platinum. And there we have it, Far Cry 4's Platinum Trophy. As previously mentioned, minus the characters and setting, this is essentially a beat-for-beat rehash of Far Cry 3, even down a lot of times to the mission design and narrative structure. Think of the flamethrower mission for example, or mid-game narrative route with a CIA operative bringing you to a new part of the map. Hell, it's even the same bloke Jason was working for in Far Cry 3. That said though, if you enjoyed the earlier Far Cry formula, I can't see this being an issue. Me personally, I always enjoyed it, so clearing out Kyrat for one last time was an absolute pleasure. If you've stuck around this long, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe to be notified of future videos. And with all that said, I'll see you in the next one.